Melaख़im Brit, chapter 17. In the 12th year of Achaz, sovereign of Yehuda, Hoshea son of Elah began to reign over Israel in Shomeron for 9 years, and he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, but not as the sovereigns of Israel who were before him. Shalmaneser, sovereign of Ashur, came up against him, and Hoshea became his servant, and rendered him a present. But the sovereign of Ashur found a conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and had not brought a present to the sovereign of Ashur, as year by year. And the sovereign of Ashur shut him up and bound him in prison. And the sovereign of Ashur went through all the land, and went up to Shomeron and besieged it for 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea the sovereign of Ashur captured Shomeron, and exiled Israel to Ashur, and settled them in Halach and Chavor, the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. Now this came to be because the children of Israel had sinned against Yahweh their Elohim, who had brought them up out of the land of Mitzrayim, from under the hand of Pharaoh sovereign of Mitzrayim, and feared other mighty ones, and walked in the laws of the nations whom Yahweh had dispossessed from before the children of Israel, and of the sovereigns of Israel that they had made. And the children of Israel secretly did against Yahweh their Elohim matters that were not right, and they built for themselves high places in all their cities, from watchtower unto the walled city, and set up for themselves pillars and asherim on every high hill, and under every green tree, and burned incense there on all the high places, like the nations whom Yahweh had removed from their presence. And they did evil matters to provoke Yahweh, and served the idols, of which Yahweh had said to them, Do not do this. And Yahweh warned Israel and Yehuda through all of his prophets and every seer, saying, Turn back from your evil ways, and guard my commands and my laws, according to all the Torah which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. But they did not listen, and hardened their necks, like the necks of their fathers, who did not put their trust in Yahweh their Elohim, and rejected his laws and his covenant that he had made with their fathers, and his witnesses which he had witnessed against them, and went after worthlessness, and became worthless, and after the nations who were all around them, of whom Yahweh had commanded them not to do like them. And they left all the commands of Yahweh their Elohim, and made for themselves a moulded image, 2 calves, and made an Asherah, and bowed themselves to all the host of the heavens, and served Baal, and caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire, and practiced divination and sorcery, and sold themselves to do evil in the eyes of Yahweh, to provoke him. So Yahweh was very enraged with Israel, and removed them from his presence. None was left but the tribe of Yehuda alone. Yehuda also did not guard the commands of Yahweh their Elohim, but walked in the laws of Israel which they made. And Yahweh rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and gave them into the hand of plunderers, until he had cast them out from his presence. For he tore Israel from the house of David, and they made Yarovam son of Nevat sovereign. And Yarovam drove Israel from following Yahweh, and made them commit a great sin. And the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Yarovam which he did. They did not turn away from them, until Yahweh removed Israel from his presence, as he spoke by all his servants the prophets. So Israel was exiled from their land to Ashur, as it is to this day. And the sovereign of Ashur brought people from Babel, and from Cutha, and from Awa, and from Hamath, and Sepharwaim, and placed them in the cities of Shomeron instead of the children of Israel. And they took possession of Shomeron, and dwelt in its cities. And it came to be, at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they did not fear Yahweh, and Yahweh sent lions among them, which were killing among them. And they spoke to the sovereign of Ashur, saying, The nations whom you have removed and placed in the cities of Shomeron do not know the right ruling of the Elohim of the land. And he has sent lions among them, and see, they are slaying among them, because they do not know the right ruling of the Elohim of the land. And the sovereign of Ashur commanded, saying, Send one of the priests whom you exiled from there to go there. Let him go and dwell there, and let him teach them the right ruling of the Elohim of the land. And one of the priests whom they had exiled from Shomeron came and dwelt in Beit El, and taught them how to fear Yahweh. But every nation was making mighty ones of its own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Shomeronim had made, every nation in the cities where they dwelt. And the men of Babel made Succoth Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashimah, and the Awites made Nivchaz and Tartak, and the Sepharwites burned their children in fire to Adramelech and Anamelech, the mighty ones of Sepharim. They also feared Yahweh, and from every class they made for themselves priests of the high places, who offered for them in the house of the high places. They were fearing Yahweh, and they were serving their own mighty ones, according to the ruling of the nations, from among whom they had been exiled. To this day they are doing according to the former rulings. They are not fearing Yahweh, nor do they follow their laws or their right rulings, or the Torah and command which Yahweh had commanded the children of Yaakov, whose name he made Yisrael, with whom Yahweh had made a covenant and commanded them, saying, Do not fear other mighty ones, nor bow down to them, nor serve them, nor slaughter to them. But Yahweh, who brought you up from the land of Mitzrayim with great power, and with an outstretched arm, him you shall fear, and to him you shall bow yourselves, and to him you shall slaughter, and guard to do for ever the laws, and the right rulings, and the Torah, and the command which he wrote for you, and do not fear other mighty ones. And do not forget the covenant that I have made with you, and do not fear other mighty ones, but fear Yahweh your Elohim, so that he delivers you from the hand of all your enemies. And they did not obey, but did according to their former ruling. So these nations were fearing Yahweh, and served their carved images, both their children and their children's children, as their fathers did, they are doing to this day.